Hello and welcome to your latest Maths Wizard video. Today we're going to be looking at one of the grade 5 topics now, which is expanding double brackets. So these are your quadratic expressions. So when you expand these double brackets, you will end up with a quadratic expression. So that's an expression that will start with x squared. It will sometimes have a number in front as well, but you won't generally get those on the foundation paper. So let's have a look at the first example then here. So obviously think about how you do this with linear expressions. So there are some similarities. It's all about multiplying. So on this we are expanding and then we are simplifying. So what this means essentially is when you've got two brackets next to each other like this, you are multiplying everything in this bracket by everything in that bracket. Okay, so why not pause your video, see if you can have a go first, and then I'll go through this first one. Okay, let's have a look at this then. So we're going to multiply that x by x first. That will give us x squared. Then we're going to multiply x by 3, which will give us 3x. Then we've got to deal with this 5 here, so we're going to do 5 times x, which is 5x. And then 5 times 3, which will give us 15. Okay, so we've got x squared, add 3x, add 5x, add 15 there. So now we've done the expanding bit, so now we need to look at the simplification. So we've only got one lot of x squared, so that stays as it is, but you've got this 3x and 5x, which if you add together makes 8x, and then you've got that add 15 just on its own there on the end there. So just remember, whenever you've got a plus in both of the expression, in both of the brackets, you will get an expression like this, which is an addition all the way along. So let's have a look at one more of these first then, before we look at some more complicated ones. So pause your video and have a go. Okay, we've got on this one x times x, which is x squared, x times 4, which is 4x, x times 7, which is 7x, and 7 times 4, which is 28. Now, just one thing to remember, make sure you don't miss anything. You might notice that my sort of arrows make a sort of little crescent moon, so that's a little way of sort of remembering to include everything. Also remember, when you expand your brackets, you will end up with 4 parts initially, and that's where your kind of quad comes from here. If you think about quad, first 3 letters of this are the same, the first 3 letters of the word quarter. So think quad, quarter, quadrilateral, shaped with 4 sides. So that might help you to ensure that you don't miss anything when you expand your brackets. Yeah, you're always going to have on the double brackets 4 little sections before you simplify it. Okay, so when we simplify it then on this one, we've got x squared, add 4x, add 7x. So that's 11x, and then you've got your 28 on its own just there. Okay, let's have a look at the more complicated example then. So on this one, we've got expand and simplify x add 8 in one bracket, x add 2 in the other bracket. So pause your video and have a go. So x times x gives you x squared. Then we've got x times minus 2, which is minus 2x. We've got 8 times x, which is 8x. And 8 times minus 2, which is minus 16. Now, you'll notice here, obviously, we've got an addition and a subtraction, which makes this a little bit more complicated when it comes to the simplification. So we've got, on this one, x squared will stay the same. You've got minus 2, add 8x. Another way of looking at this is you can just flip that around to do 8x minus 2x, which will give you 6x, and it will be a positive 6x there. And then you've got this minus 16 on the end, just there. Okay, so when you look at these, I'll do another video on the factorising of these, sort of the opposite of this. Just remember, if there's a plus there and a negative there, your number on the end will always be a negative. Okay, it will always be a subtraction on the end there when you're looking at these type. Okay, let's do another one of these then. Okay, so your next one is x add 5 in one bracket, x subtract 4 in the other bracket. So pause your video and have a go. Okay, if we take a look at this then, we've got x times x, which is x squared, x times minus 4, which is minus 4x, 5 times x, which is 5x, 5 times minus 4, which is minus 20. So now we've got to get all of this together. So we're going to have x squared there. Now you've got minus 4 add 5 there, or, so 5x take away 4x, you could look at it like that. So that will just give you a positive x in the middle. And then we've got our minus 20 on the end just there. Okay, now we've got a slightly more complicated one. We've got x minus 2 in one bracket, x minus 3 in another bracket. So we've got two negatives this time, so don't forget your negative number rules on this. So pause your video and have a go. Okay, let's have a look then. So we've got x times x, which is x squared, x times minus 3, which is minus 3x. Then you've got minus 2 times x, which is minus 2x. And then remember here, a negative times a negative always gives you a positive answer. So you've got minus 2 times minus 3, which will give you positive 6 on the end. So now we need to simplify this. So we've got x squared. Then you've got minus 3 take away 2x, which is going to give you minus 5x. And then you've got your add 6 on the end there. Okay, let's do one more final example then. So question 6, you've got x times x, which is x squared, minus 7 times x, which is minus 7x. And we've also got, I've missed off that one, haven't I? X times minus 6, which is minus 6x. And then you've got minus 7 times minus 6. Remember, a minus times a minus, a negative times a negative is always a positive. So minus 7 times minus 6 will give you positive 42. So now we've got to do a bit of simplifying. So we've got x squared, we've got 7x minus 6x, which will give you minus 13x. And then you've got your 42 on the end there. Okay, and that is all of your examples there. So thank you very much for listening. Please hit subscribe, and there'll be loads more videos coming your way over the next few months. Thanks very much for listening. Bye bye.